guys! I hope you're having a great start to your week and a fantabulous day. Today's video is a Motivation Monday titled, How's Your Heart? This is the act of skipping the small talk. This video is going to be just me sitting down and throwing around some ideas. This original idea was not from me. I actually got it from watching a TED Talk, and it really sparked a lot of interest in me and some thought, and I really kind of expounded on it in life recently, and it's something that I wanted to share with you and to kind of carry on the video and the concept. And so the videos that this is inspired by is How to Skip the Small Talk and Connect with Anyone by Kalina, Silverman. This is a TEDxWestminsterCollege talk. And then the other video, there are two videos. The other video is titled, Before I Die, I Want to ... /Big Talk. And this girl named Kalina Silverman, she had a really interesting concept of skipping the small talk and just getting straight down to it. And so what she did in this the second video I mentioned, the Before I Want to Die, is she went up to strangers and she just interviewed them, and instead of saying, like, talking about the weather or whatever, she just filmed them and asked them one question, and that is, what do you want to do before you die? And that's it can be a very deep question. Some people can really take that and dig deep within themselves to find what they might want to do, and it's less silly of a question, and it's something that makes you stop and just, okay, what do I want to do? Because our lives are short, and it's something that we take for granted oftentimes, or at least I feel like I do. And so the definition, and I wanted to expound a little more on what small talk is, and so I actually looked it up, just wanted to see flat out definition of small talk, and that is to engage in polite conversation about unimportant or uncontroversial matters, especially as engaged in social occasions. And I think that for me, I'm an extrovert, and so why do we use small talk? Like I said, I think that as for me, being an extrovert, I usually will engage in small talk when I'm uncomfortable and I want to kind of feel someone out, and so I will be like, hey, how are you? Or I'll just, like, be standing there and be like, wow, it's really hot today, or something silly, but and I'm fully aware that it's unimportant and stupid, and I'm fully aware that it's small talk, but I am watching and learning how you respond, and I am catching your mood, and I am looking and watching your mannerisms, and I'm seeing if you're kind of nervous, or if you're happy, or if you're just like, oh, having actually a really bad day, and I can just tell real quickly how you're feeling just by engaging with you in small talk. And I think that introverts, they hate small talk, and oftentimes they will do the same thing that extroverts are doing, like observing you, but from afar. And so they're watching you rather than engaging with you. And it's a conversation that I had with my brother, and it was just interesting because the different angles of how extroverts versus introverts view small talk. And we both kind of see that it's unimportant and kind of silly, but I think that it has a place. It's something that I'm not sure you could totally avoid doing it. And so my second point is why humans need big talk. Why do we humans need big talk? Why do we need that deeper, intimate conversation? I think that it's a sense of commonality and companionship when you are engaging with someone on a much deeper level, and you can really, really get to know someone by just sitting down and listening to each other instead of just hearing each other, really listening. And I think that that's something that we humans crave, even extroverts. It's a way to feel understood, and none of us are alone. I don't think any one of us are alone in that thought, and that we need that intimate conversation and that deeper level, lower than surface level conversation. And so, you know, what ways can someone engage in big talk? Question in this girl's video, in Kalina's video of, before I want to die, I want to da 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 da. Well, you're probably not going to walk up to strangers in everyday life and just say, what do you want to do before you die? But I think that depending on the level of acquaintance that you have with someone, you can get deeper. And if you're, you know, for instance, in a group of friends where you're needing to break the ice and you're introducing yourselves, and instead of being like, well, what's your favorite color, or what's your, you know, something surface, and it kind of depends on your demographic. It depends on who you're around and what the party or what the gathering is for, because it's not like this for every setting. But I think for a lot of settings you can bring it in a little more closer, and instead of saying something lighthearted, you can be like, well, what's a big life event in your life? What's your favorite life event, or what is, you know, just a big one that you want to know? And you really start to see what people are passionate about and what they really find important in their lives, and it kind of brings out a different side of people. I remember being at ORU, Oral Roberts University, and instead of being like, hey, how are you, my friends and I kind of had this thing where we would say, how's your heart? And we would just stop and ask each other, if we had time, we would say, hey, how's your heart? How are you doing? Are you okay? And it kind of breaks that of being like, hey, how are you? I'm good, how are you? You know, like that. Yeah, it's like this exchange that you kind of must have. That was the way that we got around that surface level exchange. And I think that it's good to be present and to put the phone away, and to, when you're with people, instead of being in the corner alone and then complaining about feeling alone. Like, I think that we all want, like I said earlier, we all want companionship, and we all sometimes have a sense of loneliness, and in different times, and not everyone at all times. But I think that, yeah, like, you'll have moments when you just kind of feel lonely. And I even saw a tweet, someone said that they feel loneliest on their birthday, and I mean, that's like so sad to me. And I think that, yeah, it's good to reach out to people and to put your phone away. And I know you're watching this probably on your phone, and so I'm a millennial. That's a whole nother conversation. I think that technology is great, and I use it every day, probably too much. So I'm guilty of this myself, but I think that it's good to put it down and just engage with someone face to face and really, really get to know them, get to know their heart, check in on them, make sure they're doing okay. And so, yeah, so to wrap this up, I think that there is a place and a function for small talk, but maybe we could skip the small talk a little more and try to utilize the big talk. In what ways do you think that you could utilize big talk in your everyday life? I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it provoked some thought. And if you would like to comment below what you want to do before you die, or, you know, and I know it's kind of like public and maybe you don't want to be too crazy intimate on a comment on this video. Yeah, I hope that you can take from this and you will use it in your everyday life, and at least, if anything, to inspire you a little more to check in on people. Yeah. And so anyway, that's it for this week. I will see you next week. And also, subscribe to my channel, Elizabeth Foreman, Makeup Mondays. This is sometimes serious as Motivation Monday, or it is more fun and surface as makeup. And yeah, so anyway, subscribe to my channel, thumbs this up, comment if you'd like, and I'll see you next week. Thanks, guys. Bye!